Greetings, Opera SM here to talk about my top node Hunter X Bonder deck. For the event, the objectives are cast some number of human or artifact creatures and kill 3 or more creatures. I have been using the Donder slash Vadrok Apex of Thunder shell using Chord of Calling and Repeated Reverberation a lot, and I found a way to use that for this event so you don't have to depend on your opponent dropping creatures and can still meet the kill creature objective. So let's run through briefly how it works. People had some questions on the From the Ashes forums, our Slack, so I wanted to discuss it all. So how the loop works is Vadrok, Apex of Thunder, has his mutation ability of pick one of the first 3 non-creature cards from your graveyard that cost 10 or less. Fetch that card, it gains full mana. So we will use that to mutate onto, we have a creature here, Rakdos Firewheeler, 5/4 for 14, that when it enters the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to your opponent and 2 damage to target creature. So this is a human that will meet the human objective, and then we can use that damage to kill off our own creatures or opponent's creatures if they have them on the board to get the kill objective. So when you've mutated onto Rakdos Firewheeler, you'll get this trigger every time you cast the Firewheeler, and then we'll have Chord of Calling disabled at the top of our hand, and we'll use Repeated Reverb to kick it off to get 2 copies of Chord of Calling. First one will fetch our non-mutated creature, the Firewheeler, and then we'll mutate Vadrok onto it, and then that will cause us to trigger Vadrok's mutation ability, which will let us get back Repeated Reverb, which will then give us 2 more Chord of Callings that we can use to continue looping and getting more creatures. So after we have the loop established, mutating Vadrok onto Rakdos Firewheeler, then with our 2 Chord of Callings a turn, at least one of them needs to be fetching another Rakdos Firewheeler so we can get back our reverb. But then in between that, we can also cast Vadroks to put them on the board, and then keep getting Firewheelers until we've killed off the Vadrok, and then get another Vadrok onto the board to kill those in order to meet the 3 creature kill objectives. As a third spell to fetch up, I'm also running Ruinous Ultimatum. While this deck is really cool, it is susceptible to hate, stuff that prevents you from fetching cards, exiles your graveyard, or stuff like Lavinia that would prevent you from having cards gain mana. It could all shut this deck down. So Ruinous Ultimatum is a great third option to fetch up with Unpredictable Cyclone. This is using that Pindakas peanut butter shell that Yanis figured out, because it's just really consistent to find it. And then the last 4 spells in the deck are cheap cycling spells. So I am using Sarkhan Unbroken for this because it has 7 spell slots, which we want to maximize the number of things that can fetch up our 3 non-cycling spells with Unpredictable Cyclone. And while I am using Brokhan, you could use any other planeswalker that is some combination of the red-green or red-white color identity to make this work. So you could also use Narset. I believe Domri Rod has 7 spell slots as well. So you could use other things that work as well. You could use something as well like Calumny, but then you would only get 3 spells. So while Calumny or something like Domri could give you haste to attack, I like this because especially now with Labyrinth not working, some people have mentioned other removal spells freezing the game as well. I just don't want to have to interact with the game as much as possible with what the opponent may play to exile my creatures if I want to attack with them, or like Labyrinth is currently bugged to do, or have a removal spell. Some people mentioned that expensive black-green removal spell, which I forget the name of right now, had caused the game to freeze up on them when it removes some of their stuff. So I just want to be able to win the turn I go off. So let's just run a sample game of how this works. In, I think it's the Routes of Ravnica event, the other thing. Just to show you this in action, I won't go all the way to completion with it. This deck does take a bit to win if you don't want to attack with a creature and you just want to do 2 damage at a time using the Firewheeler thing, but it is a good option to have in case you can't attack because of Labyrinth, or are worried about going to the next turn and having your opponent do something which could lock up the game or take over the game. So, sorry, I keep trying to get to the deck that I had. There we go, use deck. Why the hell is it not letting me pick a different deck? Come on, you piece of junk. Use. Well, this is obnoxious if that didn't happen, so I may do a second video showing what's happening because this thing's being dumb and it's not letting me switch Planeswalkers. Oh, this is fun. We're just going to keep this in the video to see what the hell is happening right now. Is it around the hour? No, it's not. That's really weird. Well, whatever. We talked about how the deck would work. I may record a second video later actually showing it's happening, maybe in a different event, because for some reason it's not letting me change Planeswalkers. Good old Puzzle Quest app. Alright, take care everyone.